New Garnier Men Acno Fight Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin, tough on pimples.
Carnage from the boys from the Caribbean, 254, the highest score by some distance in this T20 World Cup. What could have been for Zimbabwe? They held on to a couple of catches, but the West Indies made them pay. 19 sixes, 16 fours, 2-5-4 for 6. It's fair to say it's advantage West Indies at half-time on ESPN Rick and Foot timeout, powered by Garnier Men. Deep Dasgupta was 72 short, Faf du Plessis was 62 short. I was only 32 or 44, whatever it is, short. Incredible. That is the reputation the West Indies have, which we have seen on ruthless display, Faf.
Unbelievable hitting. And you have to feel for Zimbabwe,
Yes.
because it's the worst conditions that they could have asked for. A flat pitch at Wankiti where they just don't have the pace to attack the powerhouse of the Caribbean boys there. It felt like at one stage that there was a bowling machine set up and it was just loading to those big hitters and they were just filling their boots.
Yeah, they were feasting, like they were loving it, one after the other. We'll come to Hetmyer specifically, but did you get the sense of that, Deep, that after a point Zimbabwe just were checked out? They were waiting for this innings to end.
It is difficult, right? When the bowlers are going at 12, 13 and over, and I mean at that point in time you kind of stop thinking. I guess it's when you're under the cosh like that, it's very difficult to think practically at times. You just want things to get over and get it done with at times.
Yeah. Hetmyer, let's first talk about the innings, then we'll talk about the opportunities. We built him up in the pre-show, and this is, I guess, exactly why he is such a dynamic, destructive player at number 3, 85 of 34, Faf.
Yeah, we spoke about him coming in at number 3 and putting intent back on the bowler straight away. And he went bang, bang in his first 2 balls, boundary, and you could just sense he's on today. And the way that he played, extreme power, which we expect from someone like Hetmyer, but precision in the way that he was placing balls past backward point there. When a batter is playing like that, and you can just see he's standing still and he's just reacting. He's just going in slow-mo and he's just dishing. Wherever the ball's coming from, he's reacting to it. So it was a beautiful masterclass of batting.
That reaction to that short wide one outside off, and even the little flick, first ball, he's just timed it. Do you sense that opens you up when you're a number 3 batter? With the same Hetmyer walks in number 6, 7, suddenly those areas you don't think of as much. You're just thinking, right, how am I getting there?
The thing that it's shouting at the moment is confidence, right? He's batting it with so much confidence, and when you're that confident, you're free to make just decisions of just hitting the ball wherever you want to. First ball, flick it over mid-wicket, and you have a guy that's the opposite side of the spectrum. He's thinking first ball, just get through this, don't get out. So he's just on such a wave at the moment, the way that he's batting.
Anything that Zimbabwe could have done to challenge him more? I'll come to the catches, but just in terms of the kind of bowling, choice of bowling.
Yeah, I think Faf did mention while we were watching it about getting maybe Muzar Rabbani to bowl 1 over in between when the carnage was on, to break that partnership. Maybe that one thing. The other thing, I think the spinners have done well for them. I wouldn't want to call them part-time, but Bennett's done all right, Ryan Burl. And when everyone's going for 12, 13, why not just give an opportunity to the wrist spinners and see? Because at least Rovman Powell was under check when Krimmer was bowling.
Yes.
So maybe from one end, if not from both ends, from one end.
Just change it up.
Just change it up. Just change it up.
Yeah, the challenge there is they haven't been tested to this extremities of this World Cup. They've played on slow surfaces where everyone has been bowling well. So you kind of feel sorry for you could see that there was a stage in the game where it was just like, how do we get through this? And bringing Blessings back for an over. He is their death bowler. He's their guy that they go to the back end. But unfortunately, as a captain, when you're in that position, you have to say, I've got to bring my best bowler on you because we have to try and change the momentum.
It could have been something different though. They were 29 for 1 after 4, which now you think all that carnage has happened in 16 overs, because for 4 overs they were kept in check, and it was the 4th over that Shimron Hetmyer was dropped. Now if you're Tashinga Musekiwa, I can't help how he's feeling right now. And the ball followed him twice. You can totally relate to that situation. You would have had teammates, not yourself, because you took almost everything. But
I can relate to him, because I can tell you as a cricketer, there is no worst place to be in. When you drop one catch, you feel terrible. When you drop a second, you are looking for a hole in the ground to climb into and stay there, because you feel like there's so much pressure. The cameras are on you, and you feel like, what to next? And obviously it was a huge 2 drop chances. But I would say, even if he took those chances, the Rutherfords didn't even have an opportunity to make a play today. I just feel the wicket and the medium pace that Zimbabwe has was just not going to be enough for that firepower batting lineup.
Yeah. And we speak of Zimbabwe not having played at the Wankhede for decades, or not playing in India since a decade, since the last World Cup. But fielding is something we underestimate sometimes, right? The familiarity of Indian grounds under lights.
Especially the lights.
I think last night I saw Tristan Stubbs get really irritated after taking a
I
catch
think
at
that
the
was the
spider cam.
Spider cam.
But even that, those things aren't in training, those things come
in
with
India, the other
experience.
important thing is, and Faf will tell you better, because most of the lights, I mean the height of the lights are very different depending on which venue you are at. So, for example, the height at Wankhede would be very different from Kolkata.
Yes.
So, you've got to be really, and obviously the amount of light and things like that. There are these dark patches in the ground. Every ground would have it, certain patches and all. So, I think that does make a huge difference, the amount of time you spend catching under lights at a particular venue.
Yeah, a good way of trying to get yourself ready for something like that is your only opportunity you have is the night before. And sometimes you don't even get the opportunity to practice at nights because the scheduling doesn't always work for you.
The Namibian captain has already made a comment on that.
Yes,
they didn't get the chance to
about
practice
what
at
other
night.
team?
What's that, Faf?
Who was he complaining against?
He was just ahead of the India game in what was officially told to us as an administrative error.
Yeah. So, but it's really important, like as a player, to get used to your surroundings, to get used to the lights, because Deep's right, every ground is so unique in where the lights sit, and you have to practice to get used to it.
All right. Very interesting supporting act from Robman Powell. I think he was 15 of 17. He's finished 59 of 34. Please break down that innings, Deep.
Well, I guess, remember we were talking about Roston Chase. I think he played that role. First half of that innings was what you would expect Roston Chase would have done if he had been playing. And I think he did the perfect thing he did was just to hang in there while Hetmyer was going on from the other end. And obviously, you know, when you have power hitters like himself and others to follow, run a ball for the first half and all. And then, because I think they also look at it as in, the entry points for all the other batters to come. You don't want the other guys to come in 8th over, 9th over. So that entry point, I guess that's what they're looking at. You don't want someone like Shafin Rutherford to be there at the 8th over or the 7th over. So you delay that. Ideally, post 10 overs, you'd want all of them to come and play freely.
Yeah, Carlos Brathwaite, I think on air said that he parked his ego aside. He was not picking the leg spinner, but he made it a point to sooner rather than later get Hetmyer on strike, and Hetmyer was. So it's good partnership batting?
Yeah, you played a beautiful supporting act, and that was all that was required at that stage when you've got someone that's so hot on the other side. Your job as the partnership is just to go, there you go, I'm giving you as many balls as possible to do your thing.
The finish was simply Zimbabwe not knowing what to do, waiting for it to end, because there was so much in the slot. I don't want to be too critical of them because it didn't look like they had the skills. Or should I say, perhaps with the skills that Muzrabani does have, maybe a little more thought into how you're going to finish this innings?
Yeah, Deep touched on it. And we talk about this, especially with bowlers, is the don't be a bowling machine. Because what that means is when there's pressure and a batsman is on top of you, the last thing you want your bowler to do is to stop thinking and just walk back to his mark and just try and do the same thing. Walk back to your mark, try and do the same thing. Execute, execute, execute. Whereas in that moment it's trying to say like, okay, where am I getting it wrong? I'm trying to bowl my Yorker and I'm missing in the slot. So what else can I try? What's my plan B, plan C? Look, it's still proper hitting, and the chance of plan B and C going on a wicket like that is high, but you have to try and do something else in that moment.
And it's like none of them were missing their first big hit. Everyone was, you just feel like, God, even if I've got one, next guy's come and whacked it, next guy's come and whacked it. You feel for Zimbabwe. Let's hope they can come close to this. I mean, I'm going to assume that neither of you think that the Zimbabwe are going to go past this, because the West Indies bowling has been in good form. Did ask a question of how Brian Bennett might bat. I think that answer's taken care of.
Well, let's see, because also Akila Sain is opening with the bowling, which we've called for. So I want to see how he goes about it. I think it will be a great test for him. the last thing you want as a batting unit is you look at the score and you feel, oh my goodness, 250. I need to get 100 in the power play. And the basic principles of setting the game up still applies. They still need to set the game up. Don't lose more than 2 wickets in the power play. Have 60 in the power play and then
Just
go.
a quick question. I mean, as an opener, when you're chasing down a big total, does it free you up in a certain way?
I kind of feel sometimes it's the opposite, because you've got this expectation and pressure on you now that you need to score at 14 runs and over from the beginning, and it's actually stepping back from that and going, yes, that's a score, but let's break it down. So in the first 6, this is what we're going to get to. In the last 4 or 5 overs, what can we get? We can get 60 in the last 4 or 5 overs. And then you have little targets, but the key is you can't go 3 down in the power play, because then the game's done.
Right.
We'll also keep an eye and see what Sikandar Raza is like. He obviously took a nasty one of Powell and had a big, what do you call those? An
Ice pack.
Ice pack.
Yes, I've never used those much because I've never had injuries. Always stay away
We
from
can
the fire.
make it happen if you really want to try.
Yeah, but then he plays with tennis ball. He plays tennis ball cricket, so yeah.
We can, as a cricket boy, we'll just throw it on his finger and just.
We're all good at one thing. We do that. You guys could play, so you're there. I'm good at this thing, so I'll be here. Okay? Quiet now. Right. Predictions from the two of you that were certainly less accurate than me in the pre-show. So, predictions for the end of this game. Are we looking net run rate here? Are we thinking, right, West Indies, if they can try and really be ruthless and get maybe 80, 90, 100 run win, that sets them up for the rest of the Super 8s. Are they thinking on that line?
I think Zimbabwe has to think like that.
Right.
So I think I'll flip it around and say, if I'm Zimbabwe, I'm going, it's a big score, just don't lose by 100
Sure.
plus runs. So even if we lose, just get to 160, 180, you know, get because net run rate for them is certainly going to play a role if they're going to continue.
Sure. Though you do feel like West Indies to seal this by 50, 60 at least.
Yeah. I mean, could be more than that. Depending on how they go about it, it can go 2 ways, can go close like that, or it can go awfully wrong.
Or it could be one of those complete,
Yeah.
right, which we have seen before. All right, well, Deep, Faf, thank you very much. We will see where this game finishes up. Let's hope, I really hope for Zimbabwe's sake, they can come close, make a game out of it, probably get somewhere close to 200, if not more, and that should be fun to watch, as Zimbabwe, of course, have been the story of this tournament so far. It was hard first 20 overs. Let's hope they can finish better than they started. Advantage West Indies pick up the chat at the end of the game on ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Garnier Men.
New Garnier Men Acnofite Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin, tough on pimples.